Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on Mirror Mirror by Jean Calanita and Mother Knows Best by Serena Valentino. Mirror Mirror by Jean Calanita is book 6 in the Disney Twisted Tales series. Snow White's kingdom has fallen into the hands of her manipulative aunt, and it's believed she used dark magic to take the throne. Snow spends her days staying as far away from her aunt as possible, but the evil queen's jealousy has no bounds. Snow White eventually escapes into the woods after the evil queen sends a huntsman to murder her. It's here that Snow meets a group of 7 men who make it their mission to help her take back what is rightfully hers. So you guys, this is the first book in the Disney Twisted Tales series that I did have a pretty big major issue with. That being said though, I still highly enjoyed this book. Let me kind of start there. I did still highly really enjoy this book. None of these books in this series have yet to disappoint me. But there was definitely one big thing that I do need to talk about in regards to this book that just really frustrated me. If you have read this series, or if you have seen all of my reviews that I've been talking about these books, this series, the big concept of this series is the whole thing of asking a what-if question. Some sort of scenario that really dramatically changes the narrative of that particular cartoon that you're very familiar with. You know, like for instance, the very first book in this series was for Aladdin, and the big concept of that was, okay, what if Aladdin lost the lamp pretty early in the story and Jafar was in possession of the lamp the entire time? The same with book 2 in the series, which was focused on Sleeping Beauty. The big thing of that is, okay, what if Aurora, you know, Prince Philip doesn't get to her in time, and his kiss doesn't wake her up? What happens? Because then the two of them end up both in the enchanted sleep together, you know? So you get the idea. Every single book in the series is like that. Some sort of what if question that changes one specific moment that really kind of dramatically shifts everything. So yeah, the big thing of this book, let's talk about this book now. This book is asking, what if the evil queen poisoned the prince? Cool, right? Sounds great. So my main issue with this particular book, it's not that I really had an issue with the premise. What I had an issue with, I think more than anything, was just the entire... I don't know. I don't know if structure would be the right word, because with all of the other books in the series, the big what-if scenario, the big change, I mean, it happens at the start of the book, you know? It happens literally at the start of the book, so then the whole book is, the whole movie that you know is changed. And I'm not going to consider this a spoiler, because, I mean, I need to get my point across with this book. This scenario, what if the evil queen cursed the prince instead of Snow White? It happens, you guys, in the last 25 pages of this book. And this book is, let me tell you, this book is 344 pages. That's not good that the major twist happened in the last 25 pages. It defeats the purpose of this book. It defeats the purpose of what this means, you know? And I'm not the only one who feels this way, because I was looking through a ton of Goodreads reviews, and a lot of people felt betrayed or lied to, and felt that this whole scenario here is very misleading. And it is. It's incredibly misleading, and I hated that. Because so far, all of the books in the Twisted Tales series, that change, that what-if situation, it happens right at the start, and you get to have fun with that concept. And this would have been a really fun concept. What if the evil queen poisoned the prince instead of Snow White? That would have been a fantastic concept and setup if it had happened instead at the very front of this book. Instead, it happens at the very tail end of the book, and it was just really weird and strange. So instead, the book comes across as more of just like a a traditional Snow White retelling in some ways, which I really didn't have a problem with. Jean Kalanita, in general, I loved her retelling of Snow White, because for starters, she really fixes, let me put it that way, she really fixes Snow White as a character, because Snow White is definitely one of my least favorite Disney princesses. I find her really dull and boring and rather stupid, and yeah, Jean Kalanita really fixes her, really gives her motivation, really gives her purpose, really makes her strong and independent. And I also really love what she did with the relationship with the prince as well, because in this book, his name is Prince Henry. She even really better establishes that relationship, that there is more of a relationship there, and they really get to know each other, and they're not strangers, because if you've seen the cartoon, obviously the prince kisses Snow White and they just go off into the sunset and hey, they're married, yay, but they're complete strangers, you know? So this book definitely better retells the Snow White story, and it gives Snow White better purpose, it gives her a better relationship with the prince, you know? So, yeah, that's what's frustrating about this book, is that this whole what-if scenario is very misleading, doesn't really make no sense. This book should have had some other concept, you know what I mean? There should have been some other concept to it, because it's just very thin, you know, it's very thin, and that's kind of the fun of these books. I love the whole what if scenario and situation. I love that whole premise of these books in this series, and so that didn't really make this book, you know, kind of stand out, you know, with it not popping up until the last 25 pages, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's my big major issue with this book, if you guys were able to follow all of that, if it made sense. But other than that, let's get into what I liked about the book. You guys, I've kind of already gone into some of it, you know, Snow White being my least favorite Disney princess, and the prince being better established, and her and him having a better relationship. You know, I've kind of already gone into some of that. So a lot of what this book is about, it does follow in line in some ways with the cartoon in some ways. Just a lot of things about it, things going on, are better kind of realized, better established, relationships are better established. A big thing of this novel is definitely this whole dynamic between Snow White and the Evil Queen. The Evil Queen being named Ingrid in this book. And their relationship in this book is both aunt and stepmother. Because Snow White's mother dies, her aunt ends up marrying her father and whatnot. She is like the sister of Snow White's mother and whatnot. So I really loved that, kind of their initial relationship. I loved how everything was set up. Why is there this jealousy between the Evil Queen and Snow White exactly? What happened in the past? And Jean Kalanita, the layout of this book, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the present, but a lot of the chapters with the Evil Queen chapters sit and flash back and forth between past and present, and you get to see the Evil Queen as a young woman, her relationship with her sister, how that jealousy arises, and that bitterness and hatred towards Snow White and whatnot. And I really appreciated the flashback chapters in this book. It really worked, and it makes the Evil Queen much more two-dimensional than one-dimensional, you know? That's the whole thing of this book. I think every character felt a lot more fleshed out, and they all felt a bit more two-dimensional, you know, as best as Jean Kalanita could do and whatnot. They all had personalities and whatnot. So yeah, the Evil Queen, she's not just evil for the sake of being evil in here. There's definitely a lot more history and backstory there to really flesh her out and why she despises Snow White so much. So I did. That was a big highlight for me. It was definitely the Evil Queen. The Seven Dwarves are in here, but they're not like this big kind of focus like they were in the cartoon. They are very secondary. But yeah, their whole thing is, hey, we have this mission, we have this purpose, we're going to help Snow White reclaim her throne that is rightfully hers and whatnot. So yeah, the Seven Dwarves are kind of like badasses in this. I kind of loved it. Yeah, I already mentioned Prince Henry. Yeah, and that was the thing too. It's like, what is Prince Henry the prince of exactly? You know, the cartoon never went into that. It's like, here's just this random prince that pops up, you know? So I love that the cartoon went into that. Like, Prince Henry is like, he's like, what does he say? I think he says he's like the 10th in line or something. It's something ridiculous like that, that he's still a prince, but he has no claim to any sort of throne, you know? He comes from another kingdom. So yeah, I love this whole backstory, even with the prince, better establishing him and giving him a personality. Yeah, I've already kind of mentioned Snow White quite a bit. A lot of Snow White's journey in this book is definitely her reclaiming her throne and gaining confidence, self-confidence, and trusting her abilities, and gaining, you know, much needed skills and whatnot to help her people better serve her people. So yeah, overall, I really liked this book in the Twisted Tales series. Yes, it has one major massive issue, and that's just the whole premise of this book. It don't make no sense. There should have been another what if this, you know? That's kind of my hookup with this book. There should have been another what if scenario rather than, hey, what if the prince got poisoned? Because as I mentioned, it happens the last 25 pages, and it's a tad bit frustrating because it changes nothing, you know. And that's kind of the point of these books, is for them, though they'll kind of run in a similar fashion to the cartoon, things are kind of slightly altered and changed by this one big thing. And yeah, this really had no change, you know. It really had no big change. Instead it came across more as just a traditional retelling with just a slight little flips here and there. But still, I did still really enjoy it. I would still recommend it, especially if you want to see a much more badass, proactive Snow White and whatnot. Mother Knows Best by Serena Valentino is part of the Disney Villains series and is an origin story to Mother Gothel from Tangled. Oh boy, you guys, I'm not even looking forward to talking about this book. Oh my god, every time I do these video reviews, I really have to force myself into reviewing this series right here, because I just can't find it in me to care anymore. Is that terrible? Oh my god, I'm just going to try to go through this as quickly as possible. If you've been watching all my videos and I've been talking about the Disney Villains series and whatnot, I have just absolutely hated this series with a passion, except for the very first book. I loved the first book in the series. The first book was flawless. It was just really great, and then it just took a complete nosedive downhill, which I can't understand at all, you guys. And yeah, I was really looking forward to this because I do love Mother Gothel from Tangled. And here's the thing, this book was actually going surprisingly well for a good half of it. I got to the halfway point and I was like, oh, okay, this is going pretty good. I'm actually liking this for once. But then here come the Odd Sisters. You guys, if you've been watching my reviews for these books, you might be familiar with me ranting about the Odd Sisters. Let me recap. The Odd Sisters are a trio of sister witches who have been in every single one of these books, and they somehow involve themselves into the lives of our classic Disney villains, and kind of they're there for their origin about how they become a villain, essentially. I just hate these characters. They're flamboyant, they're over the top, they're bizarre, they don't really fit into the Disney universe or the Disney world, if that makes sense. They really just don't mesh. It's really odd, and you can kind of tell that. And yes, Serena Valentino, I don't know what her obsession is with these original characters of hers. She has to sit all the time focus on her original characters, and I feel like it's gotten to the point that she focuses on these original characters and on their dramas more than she focuses on the origin story for these Disney villains. And that's all I want from this series. I just want these books to be standalones that focus on the origin of the Disney villains. And they kind of really don't do that. So that's very important to know before you head into this series, because you do have to read every single book in order. You can't just be like, hey, I love Ursula, I'm going to go read the Ursula book. You know, you have to read them all in order, or you're going to be confused. And you're just going to be disappointed anyway, because your favorite villain is hardly going to be in the book anyway. So for once, though, with this book, like I said, I was digging it for halfway through it, because for starters, Mother Gothel was a character in her own book. And we were genuinely seeing an origin story for her. But then, yeah, once Serena Valentino brought the Odd Sisters in, that's when it started falling downhill for me, and I started falling out of love with this book. So yeah, let me start with what I did like about the first half of this book. What really captured me that I thought Serena Valentino did do very well. Because at the very start of this book, we're introduced to Gothel, who is a young woman. She has 2 sisters and a mother, and they all live in these, like, really creepy woods, you guys. Super creepy woods that, like, where the dead inhabit or something like that. It was crazy. I loved it, though, because it really lent this great vibe and atmosphere to the very beginning of the book. So through kind of a series of events near the beginning of the book, things do take a dramatic twist with Gothel's family, and we do start to see Gothel's rise of, you know, kind of being obsessive with magic, being obsessive with her youth and vanity and whatnot. And you guys, I need to mention this character very, very quickly, because if anybody else has read this particular book, I'm just very curious your thoughts and feelings, so let me know. There's a character in here, you guys. What's his name? Let me look up what his name is, because I kind of forgot already. Sir Jacob. Yeah, that's his name. There's a character in here named Sir Jacob. He's dead. He's a tall, lanky, skeletal man. He has a flair for, like, organizing parties and whatnot. Was that supposed to be Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas? Did we sort of get a origin to Jack Skellington, possibly? I don't know. Maybe I was overthinking it. But yeah, if anyone else has read this book, let me know what you thought about Sir Jacob, because I kept getting Jack Skellington vibes, and I was kind of loving it. And I was sitting there thinking, damn, I would love... The book may be terrible, but I was like, I would love if Serena Valentino maybe did do, like, a Jack Skellington book. That would be great. Like, Jack Skellington when he was a human, you know? What was he like? Because he had to be alive at some point, right? Before he was dead. I digress, you guys. But yeah, there's all that. There's Gothel, her family, her mother, this Sir Jacob guy, which I love that character, you guys. So as I mentioned, things do take a dramatic twist in regards to Gothel's family. She eventually does flee the woods, especially after some guards from a neighboring kingdom infiltrate the woods that she lives in, because they're looking for a particular flower to help revive the queen. And if you've seen Tangled, you obviously know what that's about, because Rapunzel's mother needed this magical flower, and that's how, you know, we kind of get the origin how Rapunzel got her crazy hair, you know, her magical hair. So yeah, I love how all of that weaved in, you know, kind of the beginning, what we don't really see in the cartoon, you know, how that kind of weaves into Mother Gothel's story very early on and whatnot. And yeah, why Mother Gothel goes after Rapunzel, pretty much. You know, why she goes after her, because she needs that magical hair. So I love how all of that was set up in this particular book in regards to the magical flower and the queen, you know, Rapunzel's mother, and how she gets that flower, and then Rapunzel in turn getting that hair, you know. So as I said, I was really loving the first half of this book, because all of that was really great, you know. All of that was really great. I felt like we were genuinely getting an origin story, and yeah, we were spending time with Mother Gothel, you know, and really getting to see that origin and her get that obsession and with vanity and magic and whatnot. But then once again, as I mentioned, the book just fell apart after that. Here come the Odd Sisters, and things are really bizarre. It doesn't mesh. The story just kind of starts going downhill, and Mother Gothel kind of starts disappearing from her own story in some ways, which was frustrating and annoying. So yeah, that's all I really want to talk about with this book. I kind of don't even really want to go into it anymore, because every time I talk about these books, I just get frustrated and mad, because these books are never going to be what I want them to be, unfortunately, and I can't change that, you know. For Serena Valentino she has her formula, she's going to stick to it. She has her original characters, she's going to throw them in there whether I like it or not. So yeah, I definitely recommend the Twisted Tales series, you guys, more so than the Disney villains. So you guys, that is it for my book reviews on these 2 Disney-themed books. In the comments below, have you guys read any of these books? Do you plan on reading any of them? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.